Now, let me introduce you to Radhika Tulsian Gulati. She has a master's degree in social work and is involved in a number of voluntary social activities for the past 6 years, which is helping the underprivileged and is changing the face of society. Uh, Radhika, you do a lot of social work. Can you please tell us what all that you do?
Okay, so currently I am involved in three major activities. One is I'm an active volunteer with Goonj. Goonj is a very well-known organization which channelizes urban waste, to fund rural or to help rural development. So I've been associated with them for the last 6, 7 years, just as a volunteer. Started out by holding camps, and I now, I've offered my home as a collection center. So it helps people in and around Noida, to deposit their
That's
material.
very nice. I
Yeah,
keep
so
looking for Goonj collection center because
yes,
a lot of the people in my society also look for that. So
yes,
now I know
yes.
where to tell them.
Now yes, and a lot of people call me and say, why, can you open one in our area? So then I tell them that it's volunteer driven, so I can only open one at my place. And I mean, the more volunteers, they're all welcome, so people can always open, offer their spaces as it may be convenient. So
Okay.
that is one work I do. The other is there is a school for the underprivileged near my house in Sector 29. It provides free primary education. So it's nursery to class 5.
Okay.
And I am not going there because, it was shut during the pandemic. And now when it does open, the focus is on academics. I was taking library classes for the children. I helped them set up the library,
Okay.
reorganize it rather. They had a lot of books. So we organized the books. We got some more which were needed. A lot of people donate English books, but for our school, we need Hindi medium, works better. So I organized the library, and then I used to have library classes with the children. So this was pre-COVID. I also helped them with documentation. So that part is continuing, even now, but the library classes are on hold for the moment. I hope to resume, when things become normal.
Okay.
And the third thing is about three and a half years ago, some 7 ladies in our area, which is called Arun Vihar, we got together because the painful state of things, the dirt and plastic and choked nalas and all of that was bothering us. So we
Absolutely.
thought we needed to do something about it. And all of us are professionals in our own way. I mean, there's some doctors, teachers, there's a lady who runs an NGO. So 7 of us like-minded, and we didn't really know each other before this. We were
Okay.
just living in the same locality. So through a WhatsApp group, we got together and we decided that we need to do something. So we started by, this bhandaras which happened during Navratras. There's one near Brahmaputra market, every year. So we started by talking to them about not using SUPs. SUP is single-use plastic. So it
Okay.
was all these disposable things, which, nowadays it's become common: disposable glass, disposable plate. So
Absolutely.
people eat and they throw it, and all of this just goes into the landfill. And plastics, as now is common knowledge, it's going to outlive generations.
Absolutely.
500,
It's known
600 years.
fact.
Nobody knows because it hasn't been that many years since it was invented. So nobody really knows when it's going to disintegrate, whether, and of course, this disintegration itself causes problems because microplastics are then in the air, in the water, in the soil. So, I mean, we are all consuming it unknowingly,
Absolutely. And
and
the
a lot of
animals, are really
animals are
affected.
dying. Yes, they eat
Absolutely.
the thellas, and so it's painful for every species. I mean, it's not helping any species in any manner. So
Okay.
we wanted to, and a lot of people didn't realize. सबको लगता है एक ही थैला है, एक ही तो glass है, एक ही तो plate है,
Huh.
But people don't realize that we are like a huge population. So each person using just one thing is also a huge amount. So we started raising awareness in the market, in Brahmaputra market, by first talking to shopkeepers and customers for a small thing like carry your own bag.
Okay.
Because that market is catering to, the patriwalas are selling clothes and the other shops are selling groceries. And also none of it is like stuff which you need their packaging for. Of course,
Okay.
what is coming in a packet is fine, but अपने थैले में आप घर ला सकते हैं. तो
ठीक
वो
है.
एक polythene bag you can certainly reduce. Same
ठीक
for
है.
fruits and
So
vegetables.
you put the banners over there or कैसे?
No,
How did?
actually banners nahi. It was painstaking work. What we did is every evening we would go to the market. We
Okay.
would spend about between an hour to 3 hours and talk to people, talk to shopkeepers. We made paper bags like from newspapers. We made bags and gave to the patriwalas because they are normally selling clothes which are not heavy and which can easily be carried in paper bags. Because for heavy items, like when you've gone and shopped for your grocery, you really can't carry it in paper bags. So you need a sturdy cloth bag for that.
Absolutely.
But so we made those paper bags at home. We supplied it to the patriwalas, and we spoke to customers. Then we sourced some very lightweight material, foldable bags from another lady who was running an NGO, and we sold these for like 30 rupees a piece. Because they are very light, foldable, so they come in your purse. Because a lot of people, said, we didn't plan to shop, because we would tell them, why don't you carry a bag from home?
Problem that happens most of the time.
Yes. So, women are coming, you've gone to buy maybe dahi and doodh, and then you see, patri pe achhi t-shirt bhi hai, ye bhi hai, le lo. So, and then you don't have a bag. So we sourced these these are really lightweight. I mean, maybe 10 grams or 15 grams or something. So they can, and so we told people, put it in every purse that you own. So that no matter what, at least one bag you will have with you. Because it's a habit, and we also spoke to people, like, we never forget to take our cell phone when we leave the house. We never forget to take our keys. So we have to make that bag as part of that habit.
Absolutely. It has to have that value somewhere that somebody, thinks, mere saath bhi ho chika hai, I am the culprit here. It happens, samne jao, and then you realize, oh my God, I forgot to. And then I feel, yaar, aisa nahi hona chahiye. So
we tried to give solution, because this is what you're saying is very practical, and we've all faced it. It's not something, we also forget at times, but because I have that bag in my purse, I just take it out. There are times when I myself forget कि मेरे purse में bag है, and then I'm like, नहीं मेरे तो है, so I will take it out and use it. So what we suggested also was, we made cloth bags out of old bed sheets, and we hung them on all our gates. So because where we live, most people walk to the market. So we said, in case you've forgotten to take it from home, we are hanging them at the gate. Please borrow and return. So we tried to make
good idea. That's a very good idea. Borrow and then return. You have forgotten it, so you take it to your home, and then next time you just get it and hang it over. Somebody has forgotten, just take it.
Yes. So because we tried to give solutions, because problems are there. Okay, someone's forgotten. We can't really start badgering them about it. Oh, why did you forget? And this, that, and the other. So the solutions were, okay, lightweight bags, put them in your purses. Make cloth bags, keep 5-6 in every car that you own. So it'll at least be there in the car. You can, even if it's not in your purse. And then we hung these on the, gates. So we tried to, solve this particular aspect through this, and we had to go every day. So we made a roster. There were 7 of us. We made a roster Monday to Saturday. Kaun kis din jayega? Because all 7 of us didn't have time to go on a daily basis. And we did this for over a year. It did have an impact. Of course, during COVID, I think a lot of things have backtracked. But, we hope to take it further. So we had a lot of workshops then on, this is the plastic aspect in terms of bags. Then one of us had already started a crockery bank. Now, this is a new concept these days, that instead of using disposables, just because if I have a party of 20 people, I may not have that much cutlery at home, crockery cutlery. So you just borrow steel plates from the crockery bank, use and return.
Absolutely.
So we propagated that instead of these SUPs, because nowadays there is this concept of biodegradable.
Yeah.
कि हम biodegradable disposables ला रहे हैं. That itself is but unless someone is ensuring that biodegradable plate or glass or spoon is properly biodegraded, it's maybe 80% as bad as that plastic only, because it's going to get mixed up with all your other waste and lie in the landfill.
Yeah, that is more practical. I understand
proper composting.
But now there is something called edible also,
Yeah, but the problem I feel with that is, after I've had a meal, do I really want to eat the plate and the spoon? Do I have the appetite for that? So either the plate and the spoon has to be your meal. But yes, the good thing about that is that if it is lying in a heap of trash and a cow or a dog or any other animal eats it, at least it will not harm them.
Absolutely.
So to that extent, definitely it is. But the issues of
I think
then other
better. Yeah. See, the plastic is the worst thing. That better concept is biodegradable. Even better is the edible. But to remove all this, I think we have to have that mentality that we have to carry the cloth bag.
True. And also, like for crockery, the steel thing is best. I've done it many times, for my children's birthdays. Just get the crockery, use it. And yes, you have to wash it, and sometimes you feel throwing is easier, but then when you become environmentally conscious, these small things don't matter.
Don't
So you
matter.
start doing that. Yeah. So these are little things that we started talking to people about. We talked about composting, that, do your own home composting, segregation of waste. I mean, despite the fact that Noida, at least in Noida, there's a lot of talk about it, it doesn't filter down to homes. And proper segregation is actually a science which has to be explained. So most RWAs, there's a wet, dry, they just talk like that and they don't ensure it. So we did workshops on that. We did workshops on eco breaks. We did workshops on sustainable menstruation. So we tried to, basically disseminate information on all aspects of sustainable living within our community. So
Absolutely.
that is, the third voluntary activity that I'm engaged in. So basically,
Absolutely.
it is these three things.
That's wonderful, Radhika, to know what all you're doing. At least there is a change initiated by you in the society, which will percolate down. Maybe it takes time, but at least the
Yes.
initiation has started, which
Yes.
is very, very important. And absolutely kudos to all you and all the people who are with you. That's great.
Thank you.
Absolutely. And now, where do you get the inspiration, and how has been your journey? What do you
Okay.
want to share about that?
Okay, yes. Inspiration, I'll say it's probably there from home, because I belong to a family where uh, giving back to society is part of what we do. My grandfather, my uncle, my parents, this was just the ethos at home,
Okay.
that we have something, we're privileged, we give back. So, I mean, this is something it was there at home. And then when I went to college, I'm from LSR. We had a very active NSS unit, that National Service Scheme, which DU
Service.
runs.
Yeah.
And in those days, it was compulsory. I'm not sure what the status is now. And LSR, being LSR, enforced that anything that DU makes compulsory, you have to do it. You don't get your certificate just like that.
Yeah.
So I was involved in it throughout my 3 years, and I enjoyed it. And I enjoyed it so much that when I graduated, I decided to do my master's in social work. So that is how the inspiration came. It's become a career choice, and that's the field one has been engaged in,
Very
either
nice.
full-time or part-time, for the past 20 years. So
That's
that's how
very
it
wonderful. Actually, LSR is one of the renowned college, and I know because my daughter was trying that. But आजकल के percentages तो
आजकल
ऐसे
तो
हैं. Even
पता
after
नहीं आजकल.
97%, she's telling me, "Mama, मैं DU में पहुंच गई." I'm really happy about that.
I know, that's true.
So
That's true.
that's really nice. And social, what you're doing, I think, how you sound to me is that something which comes from your heart, and that is really what matters. Something which is you do it with your whole heart. Then you see the results. Maybe it takes time, but I'm sure something changes around you. And resource management is the practice of planning, scheduling, and allocating people, money, technology to a project or a program. In a sense, it is the process of allocating resources to achieving the greatest organization values. Now, there is so much of resource planning we do in a home also. Like, let me give you an example. If we are planning for a birthday party for our child, then we would be allocating resources in terms of money. Then there would be a resource in terms of how much of food is going to be there, or what material, what decoration, or who are the people who are going to be involved. We do this resource planning in a home also. Now, as wife, as mother, as a wife, you tend to do so much of resource planning in a home. Now, let me talk to Radhika, and let me just discuss with her that what are the various resources that we manage in a home. Child development is a very significant area in a home. We are building a human being from a scratch. Human resources is also about people only. What all things do you think are required to nurture a child? Radhika?
Hey. Yeah, so I think raising a child is one of the most beautiful and difficult things together, I think. So yes, when we raise a child, I mean, if we go from a newborn till, whatever time, adulthood or whatever. So the first thing is to take care of the physical and emotional needs. So when a baby is born, there are a host of physical needs that need to be taken care of. A baby is absolutely helpless, without its parent. So those are the physical needs. The emotional needs, the need for a child to feel his or her mother nearby, because the mother is the first, since she gives birth. Of course, the father is equally important. The other family members are also very important, but that emotional bond the child feels Like, I'll just give you an example. When my son was 3 weeks old, I stepped out. We needed a baby bag. So I said, okay, my husband said, come with me. We'll, pick up a bag for him. And this boy was fed and everything. When I stepped out, he just started crying. And my parents frantically called, you just need to come back right now. So when I came back, because he could smell, they smell the parent.
Absolutely.
He figured that my mother is missing. And how dare she go out, even though I am well fed and
I have this incident with me. My son was, around 6 months old, and I was walking around the society. You're trying to, lose that weight, but it never happens. And after one round, I started feeling that there is something. Somebody is calling me, and as a mother, you start feeling that there is something wrong. I rushed back home. In fact, they were both sleeping, my son and my daughter, and I came back to find that he was howling. And my daughter could not, she was just around 7 years old, and she could not manage him, and he just clung to me. And I just remember that so much, how they miss mother kahan gayi, to unko pata lag jata hai.
Yes, so they it's that maybe that smell or something is there, they miss, so they need you. So that is, you're looking after the physical, this is the emotional aspect. Then with children, every few months their development is happening. So to stimulate that development, that is also an important part of nurturing the child, that you read to them, or you give them the right medium to develop. And soon then they go to play school, there's interaction, there is schooling, there's emotional changes happening, physical changes happening as they grow up. Their nutrition has to keep pace with their age group. So all of those things are very, very important in raising a child. And their mood swings, they have to understand ours, we have to understand theirs. So all these things are, and it's a never ending thing. It's 24/7. I mean, you talk to anybody who's a parent, no matter whether the child is 2, 20, even 40. So it goes on.
Yeah, like Sadhguru says, I was listening to him, and he was saying that first 20 years of the child, it is the bond with the mother is so strong and so essential, because the child learns everything that a parent does and imbibes that. And that is very essential. And, sometimes I feel that he's very right when he talks about it. Absolutely.
Yes.
The way
Yes, and values like this, sanskar. Sometimes you're not even teaching it overtly, but it's what they've observed.
Yeah,
And
absolutely. Absolutely.
they
It's not what you say, it is what you do that, that just imbibes.
Yes. We say, we're just behaving like our own parents. Like at this age, things when we were younger, we would maybe not like about our parents. But when we reach that age, we figure, okay, we're just the same. We're doing the same things.
Absolutely. Subconsciously. Very true, very true. Now, as a mother or a wife or anybody managing a home, that food gets to be the major time taker. What all resources are required for planning, buying, cutting, chopping, cooking meals, and what is the time requirement? I'm just talking because sometimes I see the younger generation have so many misconceptions. Every time I talk to them, they say, "अरे order कर लेंगे online." तो मैं बोलूँगी, "अरे online तो एक बारी करोगे, दो बारी करोगे, कितने बारी करोगे?"
कितनी बार हो? That's not that can be the exception, not the norm. So there's a lot that goes into it, right from planning your purchases of your, all the groceries, the fresh stuff, your other groceries, to make sure that they're always in stock. And yet, because you can't buy too much also. So that is a planning that happens regularly on a daily basis. The meal planning takes place. Everybody's likes and dislikes have to be catered to. To some extent, yes, you make your family adjust. But if one child doesn't eat a particular thing, because they don't like it, you have to adjust to that. Absolutely. So I think about an hour and a half per meal is it just minimum.
I was I had written this article where I had come down to calculating kitna time lagta hai ek meal mein. So it's like 45 minutes is the average. You can go to 1.5 hours, or you can come down to
that is including your chopping and everything. If you include all of that, yes, it will take about an hour.
कम से कम तो लगता ही है.
And this is not the snacks, this is minus the munchies
munchies, and then minus when you have a small child, when it's 6 meals, 6
Oh,
to 8
yes,
meals.
yes.
So, I say sometimes I look at them and say, nahi, hum order groceries, order online. I said, ek thoda time, theek hai, online is fine, but sometimes you need to go and see also. ऐसा
Yes,
सब चीज
yes.
online नहीं हो पाता है. But ठीक है, but आने के बाद मैं I said, ठीक है, घर में भी सामान आ जाएगा, उसके बाद उसको संभालना भी पड़ता है.
हाँ, उसको sort करो, उसको रखो and keep it properly, because otherwise that is also optimizing. You don't want your vegetables spoiling, and then your budget goes for a toss. So it's micro, it's a micro science.
So they don't understand all these things. I said, you see, you've not lived it practically, so you don't know.
I think they need to be left alone in some, place for a month or so, manage.
फिर पता लगता है. Cleanliness is a very important part of a home. We all, what all cleaning do you think is required? Because I see, there is so much of cleaning. कितने businesses हैं? Businesses are associated, जो कि यहाँ से ही बने कि floor cleaning, and they'll come and tell you कि हम floor cleaning बहुत अच्छी करते हैं, and this cleaning, that cleaning, bathroom cleaners आ गए हैं, kitchen cleaners आ गए हैं,
yes.
so many things. But as a home, and a homemaker, what I think is that हम तो करते ही हैं वो. अगर what do you think is the difference?
Between our regular cleaning and these professionals?
Yeah.
See, of course, ghar mein the jhadu, pocha and dusting is something which is going to happen on a daily basis, and then we do weekly or things like the window railings, then we do the fans and all on maybe a monthly basis or whatever. So those things happen. My take on these professionals is probably, one is that maybe people who don't have time nowadays, we have if it's a young family or both husband and wife are working, they keep late hours, sometimes one may not have time for proper cleaning on a daily basis. So these deep cleaning, what I've never sort of called any such cleaners.
Even I haven't called, but I keep coming across.
What I hear is they do it very well. So like let's say especially like a bathroom or a kitchen where you've got greasy stains because of cooking or whatever, so they do a good job, and then for 1 month it's pretty good to go with just very cursory stuff. So maybe that is why it suits a younger couple, or people, because it's expensive. It's not something you can do every week.
No, you can't.
So people do it once in a month or something like that. Also, like if I look at Noida, where the water is awful and our taps and all are really dirty, despite our daily cleaning. So there I've heard it helps clean up things. But I am a little wary of all these cleaning services because they use chemicals in they use very strong chemicals.
That is something they will be using strong chemicals, because grease itni jaldi nahi
because the whole thing is that all these chemicals are eventually running off into our river and coming back to us through the water supply, and how much our ROs are able to filter it is so this is something I avoid, just because of the tendency to live as naturally as one can. But it is definitely, it's a good service for maybe you've just come into a home, it's very dirty, to ek baar achhe se saaf kara lo, that kind of thing. But it's more a new age fad probably. I mean, our generation is not going to take to it.
Yeah, the new generation is really taken into it, mujhe lagta hai. But my generation,
it's like ordering. We don't order. It's not like, I mean, and if I look at my father, myself, and my children, there's a, like, as far as my father is concerned, I am spoiled in terms of ordering. As far as my children, they're like, let us order more. So that generation gap is going to be there.
Absolutely. Okay, Radhika, all these work we do in the home is the same which is done in organization, just the scale and the context changes. Do you think we should be recognized for this? Meaning is that, we don't get to get the credit of it at all. Every time, the credit goes to somebody or a maid or somebody, but we're not supposed to do it for money. Mothers do not do it, but it is work. Yeah. Why don't you let us take the credit? What do you have to say for that?
No, definitely. I think a homemaker needs full credit, because she is this, she or he, whoever is the homemaker in a family, is this pivot on which the rest of the family is functioning smoothly.
Absolutely.
So if a child is going to school or work or wherever with a free mind, they've got a packed tiffin, their emotional, physical needs have been looked after, uniform press hoke mil rahi hai, everything is ready. So the child is going to school, or college or wherever with a free mind.
Absolutely,
The person
absolutely.
who's going to work is going, at least he or she doesn't have to worry about what's happening at home.
Absolutely.
Someone's
Who's
looking
taking
after
care of
the
the child?
children. The
Yeah,
child is looked after, the meals are cooked, the your laundry is done, everything is. So that is how your emotional and your physical needs are met. That is how you can go to work
and you
with
have
a
somebody
full
to
mind.
come back to a
Come
home
back
where
home too.
somebody
Yes,
is
true.
smiling, and you can talk to that person, and you're not
Yes.
waiting कि वो पता नहीं कब आएगा और कब बात करेंगे, वो दोनों ही इतने
हाँ,
थके होंगे.
थके
So,
होंगे.
and it
True.
is work. I keep telling the younger generation,
Definitely.
it is work. It
Work.
takes so much of a work to make a home work, to make everything
Functional.
function. And this, I think you should give credit to a woman or a man, anybody who's a homemaker. And that
Yes.
homemaker has got such a negative connotation now that I'm trying to just educate people. It is nothing. It's just the roles we play in a home of a mother, father, and nothing else.
Yes. No. It's a big job, and in fact, I think there are two things. I'll quickly say there was this post which I read on Facebook years ago about this man who tells the wife, "What do you do whole day?" And he comes back the next day, and the house is in a mess. The kids are nowhere to be seen, and I mean, it's like. So he thinks someone's come and murdered my whole family or something. That's what. And he
Yeah,
runs up and he sees his wife lying in bed, reading a book, and he's like, "What happened?" So she says, "You just asked me what I do every day. So today I didn't do it."
yeah.
I think that just sums up what
Completely
happens.
sums up
I
what
think
happened.
even in the lockdown, I think my husband suddenly realized I mean, of course, lockdown mein itni ghantiyan nahi baji, but the whole thing of how much work goes into running a home every day. And in those days, we had to do everything ourselves. But
Absolutely.
in between, when they
We women, tend to, Radhika, play a lot of roles in our lives. Every role takes time. You yourself must be managing multiple things. What tip would you give to youngsters for work-life balance?
Okay, yeah, I think that's a very, very important topic. Youngsters, I think even our age group, work-life balance is something which is much needed. So for youngsters, I think the first tip I will give them is that they need to prioritize.
Okay,
We all have a limited, time in a day. There are 24 hours, and
absolutely.
all of us have multiple things to do. So I would recommend first prioritize what you need to do,
Absolutely.
because it's and understand that everything is not possible at one given point of time. So maybe something that
Absolutely.
you want to do, something may be needed right now. There may be something you can push for 6 months. There may be something you can do later on in life. So that is the first step. The second step I would say is, within whatever work one has to do, there has to be some time that you take out for friends, family, and your own health. That is in your own hands. One cannot have, I mean, it's okay to have one hectic week, but that one hectic week should not go into a hectic month, into a hectic 6 months, into, this deadline and that deadline. I mean, of course, I know sometimes it's not in one's own hands. Corporates, or, I mean, employers are not always uh, understanding, or they may not have empathy, but one has to somewhere find that balance. And prioritizing, I think, is what helps. That this is what we can do, this is what we cannot do. Take out that little time, because it helps refresh you, it helps you do your own work better. And
Absolutely. And you need to declog your mind, because
yes,
you can't have everything all the time. नहीं होता, multitasking पूरे
नहीं हो
time
सकता,
नहीं हो
नहीं हो
सकती.
सकता, नहीं हो सकता. And
That is
also,
why there is so much of mental stress going on.
definitely,
Everybody is
yes,
trying to do everything. मतलब कैसे हो सकता है?
true. No, and also I think youngsters, one thing one has to understand is money is very important, but again, you have to have a practical approach to it. Do
Yeah.
I want to kill myself to earn this amount of money, or maybe am I happier in 10% less with
Yeah.
that extra 10% time for myself? So
Absolutely.
these are things,
Absolutely.
because of course it's important, but beyond the point, this running after maybe just money,
Mm.
it can lead to other problems. I mean, that is my
Absolutely.
personal view. Of course, to each his own. There may be people who feel the need for certain things. Happiness, like for me, it may not depend on a certain material which has status, but for somebody else, it may. So that balance for each person will be different, but they will have to prioritize and then work towards it, and
Absolutely.
not be hard on themselves. Give yourself time.
Yeah,
things will fall
give
into
yourself
place.
time and have gratitude. Whatever you have, थोड़ा सा संतोष होना
Yes.
चाहिए लाइफ में, ठीक है. अब
हाँ,
कहीं तो रोकोगे ना.
पर वो इनबिल्ट होता है, उसका एज से मैंने देखा कोई रिलेशन नहीं है. आप यू विल फाइंड maybe a 70-year-old who's not content, and you might find a 15-year-old who's very content. So
Very
I
true.
think spirituality values you have to build within you.
Yeah,
So
it's got something to do with the soul.
yes, it does. It
It
does.
does, absolutely. Chalo, Radhika, it was very nice talking to you, and thank you so much.